South Point Casino has plenty of attractions for the whole family. Catch a movie. Our 16-screen movie theater includes 2 XD Extreme screens for the ultimate in viewing, sound, and luxury. After the show, treat the family to a variety of treats at our old-fashioned ice cream parlor, Kate's Corner. We scoop up a variety of creamy concoctions, including smoothies, hand-dipped cones, milkshakes, malts, sodas, and sundaes. At Kate's, there's something for everyone. And if you've still got time to spare, our bowling center might be right up your alley. Voted Best of Las Vegas, it's a great place for friends and family fun. 64 lanes, a pro shop, snack bar, and arcade. And while the kids are bowling, you can play slots and sip on a drink in the Alley Cat Lounge while overlooking the lanes. For our more serious and professional bowlers, the South Point is also home to a separate tournament bowling plaza.
Sports by the book.
Sports by the book.
Sports by the book.
Sports by the book, South Point Studio.
We don't make stuff up here.
I would only play the Pirates team total going under.
What the hell happened to Minnesota's pitching?
This total has really crashed without plumbing the lineup.
I think this number's too high, but they're laying me the 6.
Oh, I know.
Caitlin Clark drives handle on the WNBA.
Never mind all these Mickey Mouse other stations. We are giving you hands-on information.
It's Sports by the Book at the South Point Studio. Here's Jeff Parles and Alex White.
Good morning. Welcome into this Sports by the Book, South Point Studio. Jeff Parles, Alex White. Good morning, Alex.
Good morning. I would appear we have a Cubs fan because if you check behind us, somebody's excited. Shota Imanaga is back.
You heard him. You heard him. He didn't even need a microphone. You heard him there. Imanaga, we'll get to him in a little bit. 9 games in baseball today. Only one of them is a night game. All day ball here today in Major League Baseball, and we'll just get right to it. And we will start in Minneapolis, where the weather report looks not great. Over a 60% chance of rain throughout the day in Minneapolis. It's always a good sign when the MLB app for a 10-10 start out here on the West Coast has not gone over to warm up yet. So likely a delay in Minneapolis. Minus 120 on Woods Richardson, plus 05 on Hancock here today with a total of 8.5, Alex.
So 3 games starting here at 10-10, and I have 3 strong leans to the Dogs and the road team. So starting off with this one with the Mariners, yes, the Twins got the win yesterday. It only took 2 runs, and they did have Joe Ryan on the bump. Simeon Woods Richardson is a guy that I tend to fade, and just 1 quality start this year out of his 10. Really, it's the last one, too. Pitched really well against Milwaukee, went 6 innings, gave up 3 earned runs, though, and 4 hits, just 3 strikeouts to his 3 walks. And I think the Seattle Mariners lineup that has been pretty hot in the last 7 days, I think they'll be able to get to him in this one. Now, Emerson Hancock on the other side, 5 quality starts for him. So, I mean, these two are pretty much even. But if you're giving me the Mariners bats and the Mariners bullpen, I think there's some value there with that plus price. Not a huge play for me, just a very strong lean.
Yeah, I'm staying away. I don't want anything to do with Minnesota at the moment. Even though finally, a real pitching outing from the Twins yesterday after 5 straight disasters. 2 was good enough because Seattle scored 0. So There you go. 2-0 in that final yesterday for Minnesota. All right, we go to Cleveland next. It's Bibee and Gausman. 7.5 is your total. Minus 35 on Cleveland. This has been a monster mover here. From minus 110 at the outset, as high as minus 145. Now back to minus 135 on Cleveland. Total 7.5 here at Progressive. Yeah, weather's fine. It's just hot. Hot and humid again. 84 degrees, 70% humidity in Cleveland today.
Yeah, and looking at it yesterday, it did seem like this one might have some wind or rain as well, but looks like it is going to be okay. You mentioned it, though, hot and humid. Not much I can do here. Lean to the road team with their bats, but the one thing that does scare me in this one, I mentioned it with the Mariners, trusting their bullpen. I do trust the Guardians' bullpen. So once we get to that point, I do think they have the advantage over Toronto. But, I mean, still Cleveland, their numbers in the last 7 days offensively, 219 average, 279 on base percentage, and 78 WRC plus. Those aren't strong numbers by any means. Now, some people are a little indifferent about Gausman, but he does have 7 quality starts on the year. He's already seen this Cleveland lineup, and he pitched really well against them, went 6 innings, 0 earned runs in that outing. I mean, to lean to that side. I think he could do it again here. But I like Tanner Bybee on the other side, too. I think these two are pretty much dead even. So I'm going to stay off of this one.
Yeah, this is a stay away for me today. Again, both of these teams in the mix. Cleveland only a game and a half behind Toronto after taking yesterday a 5-4 win for the Guardians at Progressive Field. All right, up next, the final day game, A's and Tigers at Comerica. Tigers 50-31, even with the loss last night, tied for the best record in baseball at the midway point. The last 3 times they've done that, they've won the American League pennant in their 3 previous appearances of that. A's, throw Springs, ends on the other side for Detroit. Tigers minus 150 at home, total 8.5 on this one, Alex.
This is a tough one to handicap. Ends has not been in the majors since 2021 when he was with the Rays. Has spent the last few years in the minors and then over at Japan. So not really sure what we are going to get from him. He has been pitching better in AAA leading up to this, and that is why he's getting this start. And Tigers are kind of starting some of their main rotation guys for the next series. But Athletics, Jeffrey Springs, I got to argue he's the 3rd, 4th best pitcher going today. And I know that he has had games where he has been lit up, but he has 7 quality starts. That's 54% on the year. He is a lefty. I think he could slow this Tigers lineup down just a little bit. I like how the Athletics have been hitting. So, again, that's why it'd be a strong lean to taking that plus 135 here.
It would only be a look to the first 5 over today for me, just not having to deal with the Detroit bullpen. 4.5. I wish we were getting a 4, but alas, and we haven't, like you said, we haven't seen ends in years in the majors. Springs a mixed bag. We've seen a few high-end outings, but the rest have just been below average, to put it politely, for Springs. Again, rubber match here in Detroit this afternoon. More afternoon ball. Let's go to Kansas City next. We'll keep the line with the American League games. The Rays have all of a sudden gotten to 10 games over 500. They win again yesterday, 3-0. Royals have scored 1 run in 2 games in this series. Kansas City just continues to be a below-average baseball team. It's going to be game 81 for both of these teams here today. Boz and Lorenzen. Boz is minus 20. Total is big here in this game. It's all the way at 10, but that's because it's 90 degrees at first pitch with the wind blowing out. So unbelievably good conditions for hitting in Kansas City, Missouri today.
It is pretty crazy. I feel like we were just talking about the divisions and some prices, and the Rays were still 10-1. And when we have Danny Burke on with us coming up here shortly, we'll talk about divisions, but this Rays price has definitely dropped to win that division. They have remained pretty hot over the last few weeks. Best lineup right now going today, best numbers at least there with the Mariners hitting 329 as a team, 395 on base percentage, and a 161 WRC plus. So Rays definitely have the advantage there offensively. The Royals continue to struggle, batting 200 over the last 7 as a team, under 100, just 72 WRC plus for them. I think these pitchers are pretty dead even. We'll give the Royals a little bit of the bullpen advantage, but I can't justify going with the home team here with how much they have struggled at home. So, and how hot the Rays bats have been, complete stay away for me in this one.
It would only be Tampa. It would only be Tampa at minus 120. That's the only way to realistically look at this on my end. The Royals, we've talked about it. They had the great home road splits last year. They have the same mediocre 19-21 record, both away and at Kauffman Stadium this year. Again, it's just they've been such a disappointment. A lot of people thought they could take another step forward, win the American League Central. It's been Detroit of those playoff teams from a year ago that came out of left field, and Tigers have just vaulted forward to being the best team in the American League halfway home in the regular season. All right, we go to the interleague game. Phillies have struggled in this series in Houston as the Astros have taken the first 2, where the Phillies have scored a grand total of 0 runs in 2 games. 2-0 yesterday, 1-0 in the opener. The Phillies have been given a golden opportunity to really put some distance between them and the Mets, and it's only a half game, even with the Mets even 2-11 in their last 13. Hunter Brown, Christopher Sanchez, not a great opportunity for Philly here where you've struggled to score runs and now you face arguably the best pitcher in the American League other than Tariq Skubal so far this year, minus 45 on Houston.
I'm really mad at myself because I told myself after game one I was going to bet every one of these games under the total, or at least under in the first 5. And yesterday I got a little distracted with Wheeler going up against Gordon. Gordon just 5 innings pitched, 4 hits, 0 earned runs though for him, no walks. So pitched really well, and then the bullpen took over. I'm going right back to it here with these two. Hunter Brown at home is almost an automatic bet for me. He has got 11 quality starts on the year. That's 79%. Definitely one of the top 4 or 5 in the league. And Christopher Sanchez has been really good too. 60% of his starts have been quality. So I think we're going to be okay. I got 3.5 going under in the first 5. I don't mind the full game either. You mentioned it. I mean, Philly's really struggling offensively right now, and I don't think Hunter Brown is the guy they want to see. So under first 5 is definitely making the board today.
Yeah, I can't really blame you on that, Alex. Again, 3 total runs in this series between the Stros and the Phillies. 3.5. We talked about it earlier. Sometimes be afraid of that 3.5. This is not one of those here today. And if they exceed the amount of runs that have been scored in this series in 5 innings, tip your hat. Go to your next play.
Well, and Sanchez, really looking at his starts, he hasn't given up more than 3 runs since he was in Sacramento facing the Athletics and in Colorado before that. So been really solid, just a lot of 2s and 1s on the board, going 6 or 7, even went 8 against Miami. So we got to get 6 from each of these guys. I think we'll be okay.
Next up, Alex, we go to St. Louis, the game behind us. Cubs and Cardinals, final game of this 4-game series. Cubs get last night 8-0, and now they get their ace back, Shota Imanaga, who has not pitched in the better portion of 2 months now, back for the Cubs against Andre Palante today of St. Louis. Minus 30 on Imanaga, plus 15 on Palante, total of 9. Alex, this has been the story of the week, as we've talked about with the weather. It is 97 degrees today in St. Louis with a wind blowing out the center. So that's why an Imanaga game has a 9 juice to the over here today.
Yeah, and I really like Imanaga, and I would like to back him, but I'm not going to in this spot. He is a fly ball pitcher, so I think that ball can carry, and the Cardinals can actually take advantage of that. If you look at the other side, Palante's a very good ground ball pitcher, so there is a road for him to pitch well in this game against the Cubs and them actually come out with the win. I'm not going to touch it, but just because how high, I do think Imanaga should be rated, but it is just his first game back. Weather conditions are not ideal for his style of pitching, but I'm just going to say, Cubs offensively, their numbers are still better in the last 7 than the Cardinals, even with the 2 games, them scoring 8 in each of them. So this is a pass for me.
Yeah, this is a stay away. I want to see what happens with Imanaga. I don't know. We don't know. We don't know how long he'll be able to go. It's a very hot day in St. Louis. We've seen other pitchers this week struggle with the heat and have to leave earlier than they would like. So just tread carefully. Tread carefully in this first start back for Imanaga.
Probably will be on a pitch count too. Just through 72 in his last rehab start. Went 4 1/3 innings in AAA. So maybe 80, 85 pitches for him today.
Yeah, it wouldn't shock me. And again, it's hot, super, super hot in St. Louis today. All right, we go to Colorado next. Rockies found a creative way yesterday to really get that game to spiral out of control on them. There's no score, and then in the top of the 6th inning, they just let a pop-up drop in the pouring rain. Just classic 2025 Rockies. Dodgers going for the sweep with Kershaw, who's thrown 2 straight outings of high-end Kershaw ball so far. Gomber, who is, again, limited outings, but has probably been Colorado's best pitcher in the limited work this year. Dodgers are a $3 favorite, Alex. Total's 12.5 today. First time we've seen that at Coors. 85 degrees today. So much better warm hitting conditions at Coors here this afternoon.
I wish I would have got a better number. I mean, this didn't open this high, now sitting at 12.5. I think we're going to get runs from both sides here. Gomber, first outing really good. Second one got hit up pretty good against the Diamondbacks, and I think the Dodgers will be able to do the exact same thing, especially because that one was at home. He pitched really well in Atlanta, but Coors Field, we know, is a different ballpark here. So, and then Kershaw, too. I know that he has pitched here often in his long career, but I think the Rockies can get to him a little bit. So it would only be over, but I do not love that 12.5.
Yeah, if it was 12, it would be a no-brainer. Again, it's just hot conditions. We know how it plays at Coors, but more likely than not, this is just a stay away here today. Final game of the 3-game series in San Francisco, and it has been a rough go for the Giants, who have lost the first 2 of this series to Miami. Extra innings yesterday in a game that, quite frankly, the Giants had a real opportunity to win in the bottom of the 9th. A bad send by the third base coach, and then it blew up for him in extra innings. Again, you can't. This National League is so tight, and you look at it right now. Look how tight everything is. The Dodgers, who have the best record in the league at 50-31, are only 5.5 games clear of being out of the playoffs altogether. The Giants are out of the playoffs on tiebreak at the current moment. Milwaukee, who was playing well, beat Paul Skeens yesterday, is now in the mix as well. Cardinals only have. Look how condensed this is all becoming in the National League. Giants are minus 75 here today with Birdsong against Junk, plus 160 on Miami. Total 7.5 for this one.
It is pretty crazy, and I'm glad that our crew is updating this daily because the leaders are changing, and then the wild card spots are changing daily. I mean, the Padres just were out of it a couple days ago and now back in. So keeping up with the National League here, it has been a lot of fun, and it is getting very interesting. With this one today, I think the best way to play this is an under. I do trust Jansen Junk to at least get a few innings here. And the thing I like about him is even though it's his second start, he has done a bulk out of relief for this team. So he is used to doing at least 4 or 5 or going at least 4 innings. Last time he did go 5 against Atlanta, pitched really well. So I think he can do good against this San Francisco lineup that has been struggling terribly. Really, if you look at both of these two offensively, there aren't great numbers. So tie that with 2 pretty decent pitchers going, and I do like Birdsong. He's trying to keep his starting spot here as the 5th man in this rotation. I think he'll pitch well here against Miami. So first half under for this one for me as well.
You can't really blame me on this, Alex. So again, it would be only a look. Honestly, it'd be a look of a full game under for me. You can do that.
I'm worried about what I saw.
I know, but at some point,
yeah,
you expect the Giant bullpen to get there, and the Marlins can't hit. And if the Giants get swept here, and look, everyone has bad series. It's just how baseball works. But it's not gotten better since Devers has gotten there. It just hasn't yet for San Francisco. And you expected this to be a 6-game stretch with Arizona coming up net after the stretch. You have 3 against Miami at home. You have 3 against the White Sox. You go 5-1, 6-0, get fat and happy, really get yourself in a good position. No, you've already blown 2. Yep. And if you lose this one, then you better get the sweep in Chicago, or else you're losing ground in a week where you have no business losing ground if you're San Francisco. All right. Last one. Braves and Mets. Juan Soto hit 2 homers last night. So much for having a bad year. Soto's OPS is now over 900 for the year. So, yeah, he's figured it out. Mets have, again, struggled to win games over the last 2 weeks. It's Canning and Holmes, 2 guys who have overachieved to begin the year. Minus 15 on Canning, even on Holmes, total 8.5. Still hot in New York. Still super, super hot. Even though, again, by game time today, because the wind is picking up, we're starting to see the temperature normalize in Queens here today.
I'm going to have to leave this one for you and Danny.
It
is for me as well. As you mentioned, I mean, Holmes and Canning have both kind of pitched over their heads, come back down to earth a little bit here, but so you just don't know what you're going to get from them. I think Grant Holmes has ultimately been the more consistent pitcher of the 2. But I mean, with that weather, and we know both of these lineups can get hot, I would lean to the over here. So, I mean, maybe the Mets figured something out, got 7 runs, and got over that losing streak. So maybe we see some runs from both sides. But as of now, it is a stay away.
Yeah, I can't really do much of anything here, Alex. This is a very difficult sell either way. Don't like either of these pitchers, even though their numbers have looked fine and they pitched more than well enough this year. It's just very difficult to bet either side here, even with it being a close line. We'll have Danny Burke in a few moments. I just want to bring this up real quick, Alex, just off subject, going to WNBA real quick, because we found out this morning that Caitlin Clark will not play tonight. So that's now 6 games Clark will have missed this year due to injury. Now it's a groin injury. So hamstring first, now groin, same leg. So again, it just, for the Fever, who, when Clark has been on the floor, and by the way, this is in the midst of a brutal 3-game stretch for Clark, or worst 3-game stretch of her career shooting the basketball. But you've seen tonight, and we've talked about this, where these numbers will move. The betting action will likely go down. They're in LA tonight, so they are not playing or they're at home playing LA, I should say. This is 5.5 now when this opened 11. So it's a 5.5 point move, which is as steep as you can get in the WNBA at this point for any sort of move. I don't expect any play, just your reaction to that sort of move, Alex.
I think that move is warranted here with what Caitlin Clark can do and brings to this team. It's really unfortunate because I thought this was a really good opportunity for the Fever to try and get a few games under their belt. I mean, Jones is out for 4 to 6 weeks for the Liberty, who is a huge part. The Liberty struggled last night against Golden State. So, I mean, I really thought in the Eastern Conference they could make a push here, but without Caitlin Clark, it's going to be a little tough. As you mentioned, she's already missed 4 or 5, so her team has kind of adjusted and learned how to play offensively without her. But I do think she is worth that much to this line. I don't trust the Sparks too much on the other side, though, to even really want to jump in now.
Nah, you can't. You can't do it now. I mean, if you
got that good,
you got that double-digit, job well done. But now, and this is with even an LA team that has been. It's safe to say to be an underachiever. They're 4-11. I thought they would at least be around 500. They are not right now. The only teams behind them are Dallas, who we know not ready for prime time just yet. That's probably another year before all that young talent pours together, and the Sun, who were not built to win this year. So
I think the real question is if there is a path now, because the market is telling you that Nafisha Collier pretty much has that MVP, but now the question is there a path for Asia Wilson? Of course, yesterday she broke the record, becoming the quickest player to hit 5,000 points in the WNBA history. And now I think the Aces are starting to play a little better basketball if they can keep this going. But, I mean, it's tough. Collier has just been fantastic.
She passed Breonna Stewart as the quickest to reach 5,000 in a blowout victory. Asia Wilson did yesterday. 75-1. I mean, look at those numbers. I mean, pretty much telling you that this is if Collier can stay healthy. And Collier missed a game earlier this week due to injury. So keep that in mind if you're looking at these numbers. All right, we're going to take a quick break. The trivia question will be in the bottom. Our good friend Danny Burke will join us. We'll get his thoughts on MLB divisional odds, a few games today, and much more, maybe even a draft take or two from last night from DB when we get back. Sports by the Book, South Point Studio.
Football contest sign-up season is here, and you don't want to miss out on the action. With millions of dollars on the line each and every week in the world's biggest football contest, there's only one proxy to trust, footballcontest.com. Maddie and Tony have set the gold standard for football contest proxy services with 20 years of experience and over $13 million in winnings for their clients. All you have to do is get to Vegas between now and the start of football season to sign up in person, and they do the rest, making sure your picks are entered every week. Whether you want to play in the Circa Sports Million, Circa Survivor, Super Contest Gold, or the new Super Contest College Contest, Maddie and Tony have you covered. Their new website has everything you need to know about these football contests and more, including how you can reserve the best proxy in the business. Experience matters, so go with the pros at footballcontest.com, the gold standard proxy service.
Sports by the book.
Sports by the book.
Sports by the book.
Sports by the book, South Point Studio.
This is the best sports betting network.
I would argue it is a total mismatch.
There's value with underdog prices in series.
I would lean to the under here.
My numbers are saying I got to bet the Tigers.
Two-way action.
When in doubt, we juice that favorite, that extra nickel.
Sports by the book, South Point Studio.
Forget about it. The best.
We're back in. It's Sports by the Book, South Point Studio. Jeff Parles, Alex White. Happy to be with you. That trivia question in the bottom. It's a big race for Nick and JR. We said Nick took a one-game lead yesterday, right?
Yeah.
So it's a big one for JR here today. If JR is watching, to get this thing tied with 2 days to go in June, or else Nick's got him in Dormy. JR would have to get the last two, and then I don't know how we would do the tiebreak. Maybe we'd do multiple questions on Monday if we had to break the tie.
Rapid fire.
A rapid fire. Yeah, that would be fun. Get them both on. Why not? Monday's a slower day in baseball. We can have fun with that. Joining us now, our good friend Danny Burke joins us. Danny Burke 5 on the tweets. Odds Shopper Stochastic. There he is. Hey, we're almost matching in blue. DB, good morning, buddy.
Good morning, guys. Happy to be with you. How are we doing out on the West Coast?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad, Danny. And I just want to begin here in baseball because we'll get to the American League in a second. The National League is all tight and buttoned up at this point. Mm-hmm. You have a legitimate argument for basically everyone down to, I'm not going Atlanta yet, but for Arizona for making the postseason and such. And Danny, just looking at this from a big-time macro sense, and we'll get some divisional odds in a second, just what are you looking forward to in this second half now that we are exactly halfway home in this Major League Baseball season in the National League?
Yeah, I think that the two biggest things that I'm looking at is from that macro sense is what's going to be the separation in the NL East? Because realistically, I still think it's going to be between the Phillies and the Mets. So what's going to be that one thing to push one team over the other, or is it just going to continue to be neck and neck? But as you said, I mean, I'm not ready to, get my hopes up with the Braves by any stretch of the imagination. So what's really going to, leapfrog one of those teams over the other? And then in the NL West, now I know a lot of people probably go to the NL Central, but I feel fairly confident in the Cubs there. So then my question would be in the NL West, who's going to be that second team? Because I think this is a fascinating conversation into the wild card position and to not who's really going to give the Dodgers a scare, because let's be honest, they're going to have it wrapped up. It's fine. But who's going to be the next top team? And I do think the Padres may falter a little bit. And I think the Giants, more importantly, will kind of come back down to reality despite them adding Devers and their pitching being sustainable. I'm excited, and you mentioned this team as well, to see what the Diamondbacks can do. I think that would be the team, if anything, that could present some value with their to make the playoffs odds, because they've really turned it around in terms of their offense. And it's not like they lacked any weapons. It was just they were in a little bit of a drought. Now they're getting that going. They're syncing up on that side of the ball. And the big question is, what are they going to do, if anything, to make moves with their pitching and with all their arms? Because we know there are some liabilities on that pitching rotation, Brandon Pfaadt being a massive one. But if they could get another quality arm in there, then this team certainly can make a run for the wild card. I know it may be asking a lot in a very crucial position, but hey, if they're willing to go for it, they obviously have the assets on the offensive side to get it done.
Danny, I just want to look at some divisional odds here real quick, and I'll start with the NL East because that's the tightest race right now. Mets and Phillies, you've been more a Philly guy throughout this year. You can get plus 115 on the Mets right now. Philly's a small favorite to win the division. Those numbers via the Superbook. There you go. You see it right here, minus 40, 23-1 on Atlanta, and then forget the other two. Would this be a time to bounce back on the Mets now that you're getting a plus price? especially, I don't remember if you had a Philadelphia ticket or not in your pocket, but would you do anything with these current numbers?
So yeah, I do have a Philadelphia number in my pocket. I can't remember what it was at, but it must have been around 3-1, maybe something around those, around that mark, unless I'm completely mistaken. But I'm still high in this Philadelphia team, so I'm not incredibly eager to just take a little spot here with the Mets at plus 115. Now, from an objective standpoint, based on a half game separating these teams, the offense, a slight nod going toward the Mets, and maybe if you're on the side of New York, you're hoping they add another potential arm if they're even able to, financially speaking. They'll probably be fine, as you know very well, though, Jeff. But that's the biggest thing for me is the nod offensively goes to New York in this first half of the season, but the arm strength and the depth of the pitching rotation certainly goes in favor of Philadelphia. Now, those things could flip-flop to a certain degree, meaning Philadelphia's offense could pick it up a lot in the latter half. And like I said, maybe the Mets can get some nice acquisition with whether it be their bullpen or their starting rotation in that regard. But I don't think it's really a time to rush to anything right now. Again, unless you've had conviction with the Mets, but you didn't like the price preseason and you've liked what you've seen and you think they're going to completely turn it around, which I don't think it's going to happen instantly. So I think you could really wait, because if you haven't done anything with the Phillies, no, you shouldn't look to lay minus $140 right now based on how close this is. You should wait to see if the Mets do get that surge and then perhaps try to get a better angle on Philadelphia. And with the Mets, I just don't know if I'd be just that excited to take only plus 115 right now because of the potential that Philadelphia has at the same time. I know I'm kind of going around here talking in circles, but the point is, Jeff, I like where I stand with my position on Philadelphia as we were going into the season, and their arms have exceeded my expectations, which were already very high. Now I think their bats have a lot of improvement, and that's saying a lot of how well they've already done and how much more room they can already explode from what's capable in the second half from this depth that we see with their bats. I mean, this is a little bit underperforming for them, which is a good sign that they're still leading the division. And it's nice that the Braves have been slacking along with the other teams there. So, yeah, I'm kind of standing pat here. But, I wouldn't scream at you if you were taking the plus money with the Mets right now. But I think you could probably wait a little bit still.
Danny, I'm going to skip the Central and the West because, as you mentioned, Cubs and Dodgers have a pretty good lead there, and I don't want to force you to pick any other team in those divisions. But let's go to the American League. There are two divisions that I think are very intriguing here. Let's start with the East. The Yankees just one game up on the Rays. The Rays have been red hot, and Toronto playing some really good baseball right now. Now, these numbers are pretty big. It's dropped down. The last time I checked, it was Rays and Blue Jays. You could get them 10-1 to win the division. It's kind of come back down. So the Rays are plus 475, Toronto plus 825, and then we have Boston and Baltimore. Is there anything you like in this one, or are you buying the Yankees to win this division?
It's boring to say, but I am buying the Yankees to win the division. However, Alex, if I were to entertain another team, I think looking at Toronto at plus 825 is a pretty decent maneuver here. And if not, maybe look at them something with the wild card to make the playoffs, et cetera, all those type of bets. Because like you said, this team's been coming alive as of late. And obviously getting Scherzer back in the mix is huge for this team if he can get somewhat back to normal form, because they have a really good pitching staff there where if they have that consistency, now that their bats are finally coming alive altogether, which has been the knock on them, right? It's been flip-flop one or the other throughout the past couple of years where everybody's been waiting for this young team to surge. It seems like they're finally performing well simultaneously. So if they could keep that going, I wouldn't be surprised to see the Rays fall down just a little bit on the offensive front, and then Toronto can leapfrog them enough to give the Yankees a little bit of fright in that division race, but more importantly for them to find a spot in the wild card. So yeah, based on that price and the potential, I do like the Blue Jays just a bit more than the Rays, which wasn't my thought process a couple weeks ago, but I like what I've been seeing out of this Blue Jays team as of late.
Danny, I just want to go to, well, you mentioned the other division real quick, and this is more just a whole American League thing. The AL West, it feels like the Astros have control there, but the Mariners, who we've talked about all year long, of, hey, if they can actually get some consistent offense, they're a real threat. They're plus 450. They're 5.5 out. Again, I wish they were a little bit tighter, but can you see any sort of value of plus 450 on Seattle here?
I mean, if you believe that the Astros pitching is going to falter in the second half, then that's where the Mariners are really going to make their mark, because their pitching we know is pretty darn good, and they could stand to improve in that regard. I mean, Hancock, for example, who's going in and out. I mean, that's a weak link there. That's really going to kill them for a game or two here or there when he gets in the rotation. So you got a liability in that sense, and the liability still with the Mariners is the lack of offensive consistency, which has been their Achilles heel since I've always been interested in them the past couple of years and been wanting to bet them. And this year, I've finally been staying away, and I would still recommend the same process here, just because, I mean, until this team finally does it, I have to be proven otherwise. And until they do that, I can't take them. So the Astros, I've been actually pleasantly surprised with how they've bounced back offensively since a little bit of a slower start to this year. And especially against left-handed pitching, they have been just crushing it, leading the majors since the beginning of June in weighted runs created plus. I mean, that's been their specialty right now. And seeing how much of an improvement we've gotten out of Brown. I was almost going to say Ben Brown, not Ben Brown on the Cubs, but Hunter Brown with the Astros. A little bit of volatility, what we've seen from him the past couple of years, but now you're getting that stability from him. It's someone you can really rely on once he takes the bump, and then Valdez is kind of getting into his rhythm, the veteran southpaw. So, man, I mean, again, it's not like I'm advocating to lay -$4 or above on the Astros, but I just don't think it's worth an investment per se on Seattle, because they haven't shown us that they are ready to compete there fully and won't end up shooting themselves in the foot. So it's unfortunately, it's a boring conversation, but it is the Astros at that chalky price for me right now, guys.
All right, Danny, we have 4 favorites in the MVP and Cy Young races: Judge, Ohtani, Skeens, Skubal. Of those 4, who would be the one that you would most likely want to go against right now, as potentially going into a market and trying to find some value to fade one of those 4 favorites right now?
Ooh, that's a good question. I would probably say Paul Skeens would be the guy I'd want to go against. And I say that mainly because of just the competition around him in the NL Cy Young that you have there on the board. I mean, obviously, Zach Wheeler plus 450 is consistently a good look. And Logan Webb's been a guy that I've always taken a little flyer on the past couple of years, and not this year, just because I kind of like the Mariners. It's like I finally had enough, but now he's living up to those expectations. And yeah, Christopher Sanchez, who's also pitching today. I mean, he's been a revelation for this Philadelphia rotation. And then Robbie Ray, for example, he's been racking up the wins. And I know that, he's due to kind of fall down and has a little bit, hence why you're seeing him at 60-1. But just the depth of this NL race, and because of how frustrating this Pittsburgh team is. And look, we know voters can be wonky, guys, but to a certain extent, if he can't rack up those wins and Wheeler or Webb get it close enough, and the wins is really what separates them, it wouldn't be the craziest thing to think that they would look at that specifically, which should they? No, not necessarily, because there's so many other analytics to base it off, but because of just how horrendous this Pittsburgh team is, specifically when he pitches, that could kind of be his kryptonite in this category. So yeah, I think it would be him. And I think the Cy Young in general is really the award that you can see a little bit more variance in than MVP, which is kind of sucks to say, because MVP was always a blast, but now, Ohtani and Judge, they seem to separate themselves pretty often. And there with the AL, I think it looks really good too for Garrett Crochet. And we were just talking about Hunter Brown. My fear with Crochet, though, is that, again, may not get as many wins with Boston kind of being in a weird state and giving up. And 2, his longevity, just based on his pitching motion and what we've seen from him in the past. And, his innings may be a tad bit limited, especially toward the latter half of the season. I think that may hurt him. And then Hunter Brown, again, his consistency, as I alluded to, has been great up to this point, but I need to see it for a full year. And we have seen that with Skubal, and he's been just as great as he was last year as he is right now. So that's why I'd almost have a little bit more interest in the National League.
Danny, let's go ahead and go to some games on the board today. Going to Atlanta and the Mets. The Braves take the first 2. The Mets get one yesterday, though, 7-3 victory for them. It's Grant Holmes. It's Griffin Canning. The Mets are -115, total 8.5. What are you looking at in this matchup?
Yeah, I am actually backing Jeff's Mets here, and famous last words, as I'm sure he could vouch for that. But as gross as Canning has been from time to time, I think this can be an okay spot for him. And I say gross just because he does have a relatively higher home run to fly ball ratio, around 12%. His ERA is sub 4, which is good, but his expected ERA is at 4.45. But it looks like the wind's going to be blowing in out there on the East Coast, and this Atlanta offense, even though they're hot as of very late in this series against the Mets and really this whole season against the Mets, they've won like 5 out of 6, something like that. I think with the wind blowing in and with Canning showing a little bit of promise in certain regards, especially with a higher ground ball rate of 51% in Atlanta's offense against righties. Again, they're, pretty bottom tier since the start of June. I think this is a good spot for New York here going against Grant Holmes, who, again, someone with a higher ERA in the threes. He had like 370, and his FIP is at 441, and his home run to fly ball ratio is even higher. And he's got a very concerning hard hit rate along with the barrel percentage. And the Mets against righties have been tremendous, as we all know this. That's why when we were talking about against the Phillies, they get the nod offensively, do the Mets. And I think they clearly have it in this game, even though the pitching may be more so of a toss-up. I think you add in the fact that the Mets have that stronger offense. They've gotten just absolutely beaten down by their division rival. That may add a little bit of incentive here, and because of the wind blowing, and I think that can help out Canning at home here with a team that's a tad bit more motivated with the better offense. So I like the Mets here. Took them, I think it was around minus 110 or so on the money line. I may be wrong on that number, but it was somewhere around there if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, I like your Mets today, Jeff.
Stop the presses there, Danny. We'll stop the presses completely on that. One more game we want to. We've been talking about the Phillies almost this whole interview here, DB. They have scored 0 runs in the first 2 games in their series in Houston. And the reward for that is they get to face arguably the second best starter in the AL this year, and Hunter Brown here today. He'll go against Christopher Sanchez, who you talked about earlier, has been great so far. They're a dog. They're plus 130, minus 45 on Houston here at the South Point.
I laid a little bit here with Houston, and I don't feel necessarily great about it. Not in the sense that I'm making a bet without confidence, but not great about it in the sense that what you alluded to, meaning you have a great team in Philadelphia who has shown no offense whatsoever. So traditionally you think this could be a good bounce back spot. However, with Hunter Brown on the bump and how great he's been as of late, I think that deters me from doing so. I think Philly's just caught in one of those tough spots right here where it's just going to keep getting worse for them. And it's still going to be a low effort on the offensive front going against Brown, who's got a sub 2 ERAs, expected ERAs right around 3, which is very, very strong, as we all know. And his xFIP as well is under 3. This guy's been outstanding. His hard hit rate and barrel percentage has been kept really low. Same with his home run to fly ball ratio. Batting average of balls in play is sub 250. This guy has it all right now. And this Philadelphia offense, as we talked about, has been underperforming and clearly in this series. So you factor all that in with also Houston being great against Southpaws. It adds up to Houston kind of carrying things over for one other game against Philadelphia, because as good as Sanchez has been, he's going to be vulnerable a time or two against this Houston offense that's been prolific against the left-handed pitching. So I think that's why you get a slight edge in Houston. The price is a bit gross to lay that much in what's realistically more so of a neck-and-neck matchup. So if you don't want to lay around that minus 140 price, maybe wait for a better in-game number. But I do think Houston gets the job done in this spot.
Danny, I just want to ask you, I know Cubs fans are very happy. Shota Imanaga coming back today. We haven't seen him since May 4th, going up against the Cardinals. Cardinals took the first 2. Cubs, big win yesterday, 8-0. Anything in this one, or just what do you expect from Imanaga here in this first start back?
Yeah, look, that's a big question, Alex. On paper, the Cubs certainly have the edge in this matchup with Imanaga versus Piante. And Piante, his numbers are pretty egregious in their own right. The xFIP and expected ERA are comfortably above that 4 mark. And the Cubs offense, yesterday finally came back alive. And that was a game they really needed to have based on the gross loss they had the night prior with PCA making that error and Tyon not being good on the bump. And look, now you get your ace Imanaga back, which again is great, but you're going into your rival stadium, you're on the road, and what's going to be his limitation in his first game? So there are a lot of question marks there that do plant some reservations in my handicap with taking the Cubs. At the same time, you are getting a discount price because of those uncertainties. So I think the bet that I would more so circulate around would be the team total for the Cubs, because I think their offense is going to do enough. And with Imanaga, I kind of see it with a coin flip. We know that he has the tools there and he's an absolute dominant pitcher. So you could have that performance, or he could get roughed up a little bit coming off the injured list and, just going up against a familiar opponent. So I don't really want to fully trust this Cardinals team to contribute to potentially this game going over. So I would specifically look at the Cubs with their team total instead. That would probably be my top approach.
There we go. Again, it's going to be hot in St. Louis, Danny. It's almost 100 degrees there with humidity. Miserable weather. So I'm just curious if Imanaga even goes more than 5 today because of that weather. He's Danny Burke, Danny Burke 5 on the tweet, Stochastic Odd Shopper, where you can find DB's work. You can see him every once in a while with us as well. Danny, pleasure, my man. We will, I'm sure we'll catch up again soon.
Sounds good, guys. Appreciate you having me on.
Of course, Danny Burke, everyone. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We'll reveal who got trivia right and Alex's whiteboard as we wrap things up a little bit early on a Thursday right here, Sports by the Book.
We have 11 amazing restaurants featuring a wide variety for every price range and appetite. South Point's Garden Buffet has something for everyone at unbeatable prices. Or if hunger strikes in the middle of the night, join us at Coronado Cafe. The American menu offers breakfast, lunch, or dinner 24 hours a day, plus a Chinese kitchen for authentic Chinese dishes from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. From steak and eggs to wonton soup, it's fast and friendly service 24/7. When you need a quick pick-me-up, you can find it at our state-of-the-art Starbucks just inside the main South Point entrance. Order ahead with the Starbucks app for easy mobile order pickups. Or enjoy your favorites in the relaxing dining area anytime, day or night. If you love Mexican food, Baja Miguel's has all of your south-of-the-border favorites. There are dozens of classics to choose from, like fajitas, ceviche, chimichangas, tacos, and more. And for spirit lovers, Baja's colorful non-smoking tequila bar is right outside.
Sports by the book.
Sports by the book.
Sports by the book.
Sports by the Book, South Point Studio.
We don't make stuff up here.
I would only play the Pirates team total going under.
What the hell happened to Minnesota's pitching?
This total is really crashed without plumbing the lineup.
I think this number's too high, but they're laying me the 6.
Oh, I know.
Caitlin Clark drives handle on the WNBA.
Never mind all these Mickey Mouse other stations. We are giving you hands-on information.
We're back in Sports by the Book. She's Alex White. I'm Jeff Parles. Tomorrow on the program, I'll tease tomorrow right now. It's the Italian duo tomorrow. Lou Finicaro joins us at the top of the show. We haven't had Lou in a while. UFC 317 this weekend here in Las Vegas, so we'll get Lou to break down a big UFC card. And then Vinny Melio will join us on the back half of the show. So baseball, fights, and great hair with Vinny. So we'll be looking forward to that, as always, on a Friday show. All right, trivia question, Alex White. 5 NBA players all selected as the first overall pick in their respective drafts, specifically on this date, June 26th. Boy, we got a lot of words in this one today. Went on to win NBA Rookie of the Year honors. Name at least 4 of those 5. Now, this does have a Vegas connection here for this. So, your 5 answers, and you needed to get 4 of them. I'll go from most recent to least recent. Andrew Wiggins, Derrick Rose, some guy named LeBron James, Allen Iverson, and Grandmama, Larry Johnson.
There we go.
There, you're 5. Boy, what a collection. Andrew Wiggins doesn't belong. Larry Johnson's 4th best player on that list. That's a pretty darn good list when that's the case. Nick got it. Nick's in. Nick's got a 2-game lead over JR with 2 to play. So JR is at Dormy here in order to get the half a point here in the month of June. So Nick's got a shot to close this out tomorrow or Monday with a win in trivia.
Did we start in April? Did JR win April and May?
Yes.
Okay.
So it'd be a first-time champion.
He was going for the 3-peat.
It'd be a first time. Yeah. Huh?
It's always tough. We know how hard it is.
And look, Nick's getting it done. So Nick with a chance to win the month of June tomorrow or Friday or Monday, I should say. All right, Alex White's here. Alex White, what do we got on the board here on a Thursday?
Keeping it real simple today. I'm going with some unders. So I am going to trust Birdsong and this Giants team. We're going under for the Marlins and the Giants. First 5 under 4. You're getting plus 105. You mentioned the full game. I don't hate that either. Under 7.5 in that one. And then the 2 best pitchers going today, Christopher Sanchez, Hunter Brown, Phillies, Astros. Total of 3 runs scored combined so far in the first 2 games. So under 3.5 first 5. And I do like under 7 full game as well.
There we go. Again, small card, but it's a small card to begin with here in Major League Baseball on a Thursday, the final Thursday of June. All right. We are really looking forward to tomorrow's show. We're really excited to talk to Lou.
Exactly.
We haven't seen him in a few months. Maybe even Lou will have a season win total mixed in there for the NFL. So we're looking forward to that. John Race. Oh, 2-way action. Wow. All right. There we go.
I think JR may have called for that in the chat. So.
Oh, okay. All right. All right, JR. Let's see where we're going here. So we have Lou tomorrow. We have Vinny tomorrow. We also, by the way, just getting out in front of this, we will be off on July 4th. So we'll all be flipping hamburgers and getting hot dogs on the grill for America's birthday on the 4th. So that's a week from today, or a week from tomorrow. But so our last Friday show for a few weeks next week, or tomorrow, I should say, right here on Sports by the Book. Shout out to the crew, Ryan, Jerry, Vince, Drew Dog, and Sean, who's God knows where right now. Alex, good luck.
Thank you.
Go 2-0 for the board here today with some slow starts in Major League Baseball. I'm Jeff Parles. Gone Racing comes your way later today. Brennan Gone, Jeff Motley. That's on the Gone Racing channel here at South Point Studios. So be on the lookout for that. See you again tomorrow. Sports by the Book, South Point Studios.